According to Derek Abbott, an engineering researcher at the University of Adelaide, the unidentified man found on the beach at Somerton Park on the 1st of December, 1948, was Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer born in Melbourne in 1905. Abbott spent decades on the case, working with genetic genealogists to build a family tree from surviving physical evidence. His conclusion was announced in 2022, roughly 73 years after the body was first discovered against a seawall in suburban Adelaide, South Australia. But a name is not the same thing as an answer. For 73 years, this man lay in a South Australian grave with no identity, no cause of death, and no explanation for why every label had been cut from his clothing. In the hidden fob pocket of his trousers, police found a scrap of paper torn from a book of Persian poetry. 2 words were printed on it: Tamam Shud. It is ended. Early on the 1st of December, 1948, beachgoers at Somerton Park noticed a man propped against the seawall, legs crossed, head tilted back as if dozing in the sun. He wore a full suit and tie in the Australian summer heat. An unlit cigarette rested on his collar. Witnesses came forward saying they had seen a man in that exact spot the previous evening. One remembered watching him lift an arm and let it drop limply. Nobody approached him. Everyone assumed he was simply drunk and sleeping. The autopsy deepened the problem instead of solving it. The man appeared to be in his 40s or 50s, unusually fit, with strangely wedge-shaped calf muscles and no obvious injuries. His organs were engorged with blood, his stomach lining inflamed, and the pathologist was convinced he had been poisoned. Yet exhaustive testing found no trace of any poison at all. The conclusion was extraordinary for its time: death by an unknown agent, possibly one that broke down in the body and left no chemical fingerprint behind. Then detectives examined his belongings, and the case turned genuinely sinister. There was no wallet, no identification, no money beyond a little loose change. Every maker's label had been carefully removed from his clothing. A suitcase later recovered from the Adelaide railway station cloakroom had also been stripped of identifying marks, though a few items carried the stenciled name T. Keen, a name that matched no missing person anywhere in Australia. Inside were orange wax thread of a type not sold locally, and a sharpened stenciling brush. Months later, a pathologist searching the clothing again found what everyone had missed: a tightly rolled scrap of paper sewn into a hidden fob pocket. Printed on it were 2 Persian words, Tamam Shud, meaning it is ended. The phrase comes from the final line of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of verses about living fully because death erases everything. Police appealed publicly, and a man came forward with the very copy the scrap had been torn from. He had found it thrown into his unlocked car. The back cover of that book carried something no cryptographer has ever cracked: faint penciled capital letters arranged in 5 clustered lines. One of them struck out. Australian Naval Intelligence tried and failed to break it, concluding there was too little material to work with. Beneath the letters was an unlisted telephone number belonging to a young nurse who lived a short walk from where the body was found. She admitted owning a copy of the Rubaiyat, denied knowing the man, and appeared visibly shaken by his death mask. For decades, the vacuum filled with theories. The timing sat at the opening of the Cold War, and Adelaide lay near the Woomera weapons testing range. So many decided he was a Soviet spy silenced with an untraceable poison. Others pointed to his powerful calves and high-arched feet, and argued he had been a ballet dancer. Some believed he was simply a jilted lover who walked to the beach and swallowed something lethal within sight of a woman's house. Every theory fitted some evidence. None fitted all of it. In 2021, the grave was finally reopened. Working with genetic genealogists, Derek Abbott built a family tree from DNA and identified Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer born in Melbourne in 1905, who had separated from his wife Dorothy and effectively vanished. No one had ever reported him missing. But identification is not explanation. Nobody knows why Webb traveled to Adelaide, why he stripped his clothes of every label, how he died, or why he carried the last two words of a Persian poem in a hidden pocket. A name after 73 years should feel like closure. It doesn't. Carl Webb was a real man with a family, a job, and a marriage that ended. And somehow he walked out of his own life and into a mystery that outlived everyone who searched for him. The scrap in his pocket said it is ended. The truth is that nothing about this case is finished. If unsolved stories like this one keep you awake, subscribe, and we will keep digging.